Hey, what's up, guys? Before we get into this episode of the podcast, I want to start off by talking about something that I know is going to add value to your life because of how much value it's added to my life, my husband's life, my mom's life, and a ton of my clients' lives. And there's a reason why I'm talking about it today. It's Friday, the day before Memorial Day, and there is a huge special that I want you guys to get in on if you're interested in applying this to your life, because I know, again, that it's going to add a lot of value to a lot of people out there. So, if you follow me on social media, you probably see me talking a lot about a company called Just Meats. Now, Just Meats is a company that delivers pre-cooked, high-quality, grass-fed, grass-finished, local rancher meat to your door. And again, I want to backtrack that because the most important thing is that it's pre-cooked. There is so many different varieties of flavors and meats that they have. They have different porks, they have different beefs, they have different chickens. They have things like Hawaiian teriyaki chicken, which is right now myself, Stone, and my mom's favorite, and my brother's favorite as well. I actually had a client reach out to me and say it was the best chicken she's ever had, hands down. They also have things like sweet and spicy pork, Texas brisket, and the best part is that you don't have to choose between convenience and quality. Generally, when it comes down to food and getting prepared foods, you have to choose between convenience and quality, or it's going to be exponentially expensive. Now, for this weekend only, you can go down below in the show notes and use the code KKennaSmith35 off. Again, that's going to be down below in the show notes. I'll also put the link so that it's super easy for you guys to find. For you to save $35 on your order, as well as if you set up a subscription, saving 25 additional %, plus getting a free tray of meat, and each tray of meat is 16 ounces of pre-cooked meat. So if you're somebody who struggles to hit their protein goal over the course of the week, or if you're someone who's lazy and doesn't want to do meal prep, or maybe your life's a little bit too crazy to sit down and meal prep. So this is going to solve that problem for you and take away the excuse of, I don't have enough time or I don't have enough money to be able to eat healthy and hit your protein goal. Plus, again, it's delicious. Your whole family will be able to love it, and it's going to help you. So if you have any questions about Just Meats or anything at all, please shoot me a message. Other than that, sit back, enjoy. What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Powerhouse Mentality podcast. I am your host. I'm Caitlin Kenna Smith, and today we're going to get into another lesson from training. Now, originally, when I was sitting down this morning to think about, okay, what am I going to record today? I have a lot of just different ideas that I have written in my notebook that I want to put out to you guys. And initially, I was going to record a nutrition episode on tips to perform and to work out and to train in the heat, because I'm in Florida. It's getting really fucking hot here. And I know that around the country, it's also getting pretty hot. It's about to be Memorial Day weekend, which means it's really about to become summer, and people are going to start training outside or training in their garage or just training in different environments that maybe they're not 100% used to. So that episode will come out next week. I'll record it next week or this weekend, get it out to you guys so that you have that information so you can apply it into your life and you can train at a high level and stay safe, most important, and recover properly from your training when the temperature gets a little bit hotter than you're used to. But the reason why I kind of switched and wanted to focus on this topic instead is because, one, it's fresh in my mind. It's a lesson from training from 2 days ago. So today is Friday that I'm recording this. On Wednesday is when this happened. And I really love this as not just a lesson of training, but a lesson of life. And I say that all the time when it comes to these lessons of training. But this mindset, this mantra, whatever you want to call it, is something that you can utilize in your everyday life in order to help you excel and perform at a very high level and really build toughness the correct way. I feel like a lot of people build toughness the wrong way, or they have the wrong idea of what building toughness looks like. A lot of people think that building toughness looks like having to almost like white knuckle it and clench your fists through pain and be able to endure suffering like that. When yes, you have to endure suffering in order to, build calluses, mental and physical, to get stronger, to improve your performance and your mindset. However, it's not like that. It's about accepting the reality of the pain and discomfort that you're currently in and understanding that you are going to be able to get through it. That's the thing that sets those who are trying to get tough and trying to be successful apart from those who are dominant in whatever field that they're in. They're not only willing and able to endure tough challenges and seek discomfort on a daily basis, but when they're in that discomfort, they don't just suffer through it. They navigate through it, and that's a very different thing. So let's break down the training. So on Wednesday is one of my favorite days of training, and I'll tell you. Wednesday and Saturday, one of my favorite days. And you know why? Because the next day is either an active recovery day or a rest day. And I know at that point my body is pretty beaten up. And if I can just push through this training session and get through and navigate through this training session to be able to perform at my high level, then when I'm sipping on my post-workout shake after my workout, I know that tomorrow I've earned that rest and recovery. And that's important. So Wednesday, I was getting into it. And the conditioning piece that I had for today was every 3 minutes for 30 minutes, so 10 sets of a 12-calorie assault bike into 5 deadlifts at 165 pounds. So basically, a very hard, fast interval where you earned rest. So you want to think of it of a perspective as you want to earn at least 1-to-1 rest, meaning that you have 3 minutes to complete the interval. You don't want to take 2 minutes to complete the interval. You want it to be done in less than 1:30 so that you have at least 1:30 left to be able to rest, recover, restore your energy systems to get ready for the next hard interval so that you can hit it at the same level in order to improve. So my goal was to be able to get well under 1:30 so that I can earn that rest to be able to restore my energy systems to get ready to hit the next interval as hard as I could. So I love these workouts in a sense where I know that it's going to hurt. I'm aware that it's going to be very uncomfortable, but it's up to me to be able to produce that effort. So the cool thing about this workout is that I've done this workout in the past, but at a lower deadlift weight. So being able to see how I was able to actually go faster on my intervals this time around at a higher weight when the heat was way worse, it's a good sign that I'm moving in the right direction, and it's very nice to have those wins under your belt when you're training so hard every day and you're completely committing your life to this. And you don't get those wins all the time, and I think that's something that's overlooked is people think that when you're an athlete, you're constantly going into training and you're constantly making improvements, when that's not always the case. There are some workouts where I don't understand why I suck so much and where I'm like, wow, there's no way I'll ever get to where I want to go because I'm just not fit. Where I feel like I've never trained ever or held a barbell or done a double under. But then the next day, I feel like an elite athlete. It's crazy how that works. And I think that a lot of people overlook that, how your losses are infinitely more valuable than your wins. And that's in athletics, but it's also in life. But back to the workout, because that's not the lesson of the day, although a good lesson. Now, as I was getting through these hard intervals, on the rest, I was thinking about different things that I could help to produce. How can I help somebody get through something like this? Because I used to be the person who, when I would do a hard interval, whether it be usually a very, very short, like this, sprinty type interval, I would deem myself as I'm just not good at those because whenever I get into that extreme discomfort where my heart rate is extremely high, my muscles are blowing up and getting filled with lactic acid, I would go into this almost anxiety response where then I would start to panic, which obviously would impact my performance negatively because when you start to panic when your heart rate is already that high, you're going to lose control. And you never want to be able to lose control during hard intervals. The most important thing for you to do during those intervals is to maintain control. Because once you lose control, it's going to be really fucking messy. So again, in the past, I used to be this person where my heart rate would get really high, things would get uncomfortable, lactic acid would start pouring into my muscles, and I would start panicking, and it would cause me to redline or to really just be so fatigued that I started to lose control and I fell apart. So instead of maintaining consistent paces or getting faster, I would start at a certain pace, keep that pace for a little bit, and then completely fall off of it to the point where it was almost comical. Now, I've trained my mind and my body to be able to understand this, and this is why training and practicing your craft is so important, because preparation breeds confidence. So I'm going to say that again. Preparation breeds confidence. So if you prepare or you study for a test, then you're going to be far more confident going into the exam than somebody who didn't study. And that confidence is going to allow you to perform at a higher level. Same thing goes for athletics. If I constantly train CrossFit and I prepare through my training, through seeking discomfort every day, through getting uncomfortable and putting myself in those places every day, then I'm going to be much more confident going into a competition where I know the workout is going to be painful, or even just a day of training where I know the workout is going to get painful. Now, on the rest periods, this is where most people fall apart. And that sounds weird, right? You would think that most people would fall apart during the interval itself. But during the interval itself, you're so into the interval that it's hard for your mind to start fucking with you. Although, when you're in a lot of pain, it's equally as easy to hear those thoughts like, hey, you should slow down. This is really uncomfortable. Please slow down. And listen to them. Now, what you need to do when your mind starts saying those things is push it a little bit. Push the limit a little bit to find out what you're truly capable of. But let's talk about the rest periods. So on the rest periods, what I would do is I would always follow the same routine. I would finish the deadlifts, turn around, look at the clock, tally off, around. I'd walk over to the fan, stand in front of the fan for about a minute. Once the clock hit 30 seconds remaining, I would walk towards the bike and get ready for the next interval. I think it's so important when you're on a rest break to control as much as you can possibly control when your body is feeling out of control through the discomfort that it's feeling, right? So being able to control the routine and knowing what to expect in that sense, it builds confidence. Okay, that's number one. But number two, and this is the biggest point that I want to push into you guys today, is how do you get through anything that's hard and painful and uncomfortable in your life? Because the reality of life is that you are going to get punched in the mouth, and you're usually going to get punched in the mouth when you least expect it. It's going to happen. 100%. Zero doubt you're going to get punched in the face. It's going to hurt. You're going to probably fall on your ass. And you want to cry and you don't want to get up. Now, if you don't get up and you just stay on the ground and you pout about it and you cry about it, you never move forward in life and you settle for mediocrity. And then people continue to walk all over you and life continues to punch you in the mouth and you never recover from those punches. So then, again, you're mediocre. And I'm pretty sure that everybody who's listening to this podcast does not want to settle for mediocrity. And every time you hear that word, you almost cringe. Because that's how I do it. Now, getting through something hard and difficult and challenging in your life, you have to set the expectations, but you have to set appropriate expectations. So, if you go into a hard workout, I'm sure you've probably understood this and been here before. Or even like a hard event, just something that's challenging. Maybe you go into it and you set very low expectations to the threshold of discomfort. For example, if I'm going into a workout, I look at the workout and I say, oh, this isn't going to be bad. This is going to be pretty good, pretty easy, nothing too bad. Then I get into the workout and it's a little bit harder than I thought. And it feels a little bit more uncomfortable than I anticipated. What happens? Your body starts to panic. Because the expectation was inappropriate. You set the bar too low when it came to the expectation or the threshold of discomfort. So then you immediately panic, and your body is actually more sensitive to pain. It's been proven through research, through MRIs. Your body becomes more sensitive to pain. The areas in your brain that are sensitive to pain, that interpret pain and respond to pain, light up more when the expectation was set too low, because you start to panic. However, what if you set the expectation too high? Because then you're like, okay, cool. Well, instead of going into a workout and saying this is going to be easy, I'm going to go into every workout or every hard, challenging thing that I have to do in life and say, hey, this is going to be really fucking hard. Like, it's going to hurt. It's going to suck. Well, I mean, you could do that, but here's the problem with that, is that you almost psych yourself out before going into it. Because if I go into something and I say this is going to be fucking really hard, really impossible, I'm probably not going to push as hard as I thought that I could or as hard as I want to, because subconsciously in my mind, I'm like, why bother? If it's going to be so impossible and so difficult, why bother? So you can either do the expectation too low, cause anxiety, or do the expectation too high, which also causes some form of anxiety in most people, because you're going into the workout and you're almost like so anxious that you're not going to perform at a high level. So you have to almost like Goldilocks this, meaning you have to make it just right. You have to set that expectation just right. And here's how I like to do it. On every single rest period during that hard interval, when it started to get pretty uncomfortable, because like the first one, you're like, fuck yeah, I got this. And then the second one, it's like, okay, this is starting to hurt. I started saying to myself in my mind, and even out loud, but then it got to the point where the intervals became so challenging that when I would try to talk to myself out loud, it would just be like little words. Like it wasn't even like full sentences, just because of where I was at. But start saying to yourself in your mind, like, yeah, this is challenging. Yeah, this is uncomfortable, but I can handle this. Because then you've set the expectation. Your body and your mind understand that, yes, this is going to hurt. It's going to be challenging. But then you're also telling yourself that you can handle it. So then there's no doubt. And if you're saying this to yourself out loud, and if you're doing a workout or a hard interval, if you can talk during a hard interval, that means you're definitely okay and you could probably go harder. Just saying. But you can apply this to every area of your life, not just training. Now, for those of you who are working out and who want to push the barrier a little bit, this is something you can really do to tap into the next level of performance. The mindset piece is something that a lot of people ignore when it comes to training, but it's one of the most powerful tools that you can build. So this is big, not just in training, but in life. So if you're going into, say, a presentation at your job where a lot of shit is on the line and you're nervous to talk in front of people, or you have to have a tough, challenging conversation with an employee or a spouse or somebody that you love, and you're doing everything in your mind not to do it, to procrastinate it, and you're getting nervous and you're panicking, just say to yourself, look, this is going to be challenging, it's going to be uncomfortable, but I can handle it. And then again, confidence comes in the preparation. So prepare, and don't just kind of wing things in life, because when you wing shit in life, generally it doesn't work out. And the preparation doesn't need to be the exact thing that you're doing, but if you can constantly seek discomfort and show your body that you can handle hard shit, and show your mind that you can handle hard shit, then you're going to be able to handle hard shit. So that way, when you're in those moments where you're saying to yourself, yes, this is going to be difficult and challenging and uncomfortable, but I can handle it, your body's like, you're right, I can handle it because I've been here before. Maybe not in this exact situation, but I've been uncomfortable before and I know that I can handle it, because the reality is, all of you who are listening to this are 100% undefeated on your most challenging days and in your most challenging moments. Pain is temporary. Understand that. No matter how hard life gets, no matter how challenging of a situation you're in, the pain is temporary. It will end. You will be okay. But you have to remind yourself that you can also perform at a very high level, no matter how uncomfortable things get. So I hope that this was helpful for you guys. If you found value from this topic, please do me a favor, share this on your social media, tag me at Caitlin Kenna Fitness on Instagram, And please share this podcast episode with at least one person so we could spread the mission, create more of an impact, and get more people into the Powerhouse Mentality. Now go out today and do one thing that's going to take you one step closer to where you want to be.